The dating profile of the week has quite a lot to go over, but the red flags are not that hard to find. Now, as you can see, she is a bit overweight, though in America it's considered to be, I guess, normal. What did she put for her? Okay, curvy. All right, fine, I'll buy that. Here in Thailand, this is called a beast. Just so you guys know. All right. Of course, not just multiple tattoos, but sleeve tattoos. We already like anybody who sees any good man who sees tattoos on women should swipe left. But this profile is not about the pictures. This profile is actually about the text, what she says, because she gives us a lot of preview of what is in a modern woman's mind. Okay, so we'll move on for that. So she's 33. She is a single mother, right? Another reason to swipe left. Now, generally speaking, if you're on dating apps and you're looking for someone serious, right? Like if you're also looking to hook up, then single mothers are great, right? Recreational use only, as Myron says. But if you're looking for a serious relationship, obviously having kids is, Now she also has dogs, and we talked about it yesterday, right? I mean, it's a yellow flag. It's not a red flag, but the fact that she already most likely made a decision for both of you to have a dog, whether or not you're allergic to the dog or a cat, and what kind. Like, obviously, she wasn't thinking that. But again, there are some exceptions because this dog could have been from her previous marriage that they did decide to get the dog or adopt it out of bad situation or a relative died. So we want to now she's only looking for a long-term relationship. That's another thing that I think a lot of women don't really understand. I just had a conversation with a girl I matched with yesterday. No man comes in and wants to have a long term relationship with a girl right away. We all start, there's also for us, it all starts with a one night stand. And if you're good, it becomes a friends with benefits. And then we realize there's a person attached to the vagina. And if we like that person, then we're like, you know what? You know what I should do? I might consider a long-term relationship with this girl. That's how men operate. So the fact that the girl says, "Oh, I want a long-term relationship," I understand that's a goal for probably 95% of women, right? And at least half of the men, right? But play the game here. You know what I mean? You're just probably missing out on a lot of guys. Like I have always been a long-term relationship kind of guy, but I never went, I remember meeting all of my relationships who lasted for many, many, many years. I never met them in person and say, you know what? I'd love to get married to this girl. No, I was like, oh, I'd like to bang her, right? And then I did. I was like, oh, I'd like to do it again. And I was like, damn, she's also nice and she's kind and she's submissive. Wow, maybe I should think. So women don't really understand that, like, oh, I don't want one night stands or friends with benefits. I'm sorry, those are the two natural stages that men go through for you to become their girlfriends. And then of course women go like, oh, but I find many men who tell me that they want to be in a long-term relationship. Yeah, you met a lot of liars, but that just the road to Rome is always the same. All right, now I gotta tell you, she wrote a lot, and this is why I wanted to actually dedicate a little bit of time to this, because this shows. I would say this could be a good match for almost every modern woman here, especially if they're single mothers, right? So we try to go over this relatively quickly, but there's one big red flag, and I wanted to see if you guys gonna see this for yourselves. Okay, she first of all she says, respectfully, can you all stop being stupid? Not a good way to start, right? This already tells me that she's probably matching with the wrong man, or and now she's blaming them for being stupid. Well, you picked them, right? There's like 5 million men in your area probably in a dating app. You picked the stupid one, right? So it's not no felonies. It also tells me, like, what kind of men are you matching with? With felonies, like that's a major offense. Not if you want to be president, but generally speaking, it's a major offense. How do you end up with that? Um, I'm not into that bad boy shit. I have a feeling she is. And this is where we never believe women when they say what they're looking for, because a lot of times they're like, oh, I just want a guy who made me laugh. Oh, really? Let me meet your ex-boyfriend. Oh, he's in jail for domestic violence against you. Oh, yeah. Wow. That's funny. Right. I mean, so never listen to that. All right. Let me start off by saying I'm a handful, but I know it just takes me the right person to allow me to be calm. this I would, I mean, yes, most modern women are handful, and this is why they're undateable. But to admit it and think that somehow this is a good thing, and that this is the reason why you're picking stupid men, because only a stupid man would look at this and say, oh yeah, I want that, I want a handful, I want a lot of trouble in my relationships. Yeah. Okay, now she goes on, and this is the biggest red flag in the entire field of red flags of this profile. I'm a handful because I know what I want and I won't settle, and I know what I have to offer. Now, again, she's admitting she's a handful, which again, only stupid men would be attracted to or even go for, even though, and that's why in the beginning she says, well, can you all stop being stupid, right? Well, only stupid men would swipe a profile of a girl who says, I need to be handled. But here she says, well, I know what I want and I'm not going to settle for less. You're a single overweight mother with a bunch of tattoos in your 30s, right? Well, who gives a shit what you want? You're not going to get it. And if you're not going to settle for less, well, I hope you adopt more dogs and cats. Though, as we found out in the previous segment, there is a cure for that too. Have you ever tried a 22-year-old? Oh, they are excellent at washing dishes and looking after your baby. That's free babysitting. And then she says, I know what I have to offer. And I shit you not, as long as this profile is one of the longest I've seen, she mentions nothing about what she has to offer. And I got to tell you, we know the answer, what these modern women, single moms with tattoos have to offer. Nothing besides that one thing that everybody can buy nowadays, right? And this is why you gotta avoid women who have nothing to offer but a lot of demands, right? This is essentially what it comes down to. Now she said, but I know that it's being this way and being able to settle that within me will come with a lot of perks. Again, what are they? Not going to go into details about this. Well, what I think you misunderstood about my self-summary section purpose here. That's exactly where that goes. Because again, I believe you're full of shit. And I'd like to hear what you at least made up. But you didn't bother with that. She said, but if you're willing to experience what I have to offer, you'll see what I'm talking about. No, thank you. This is yeah. Now she says, let's dive in. I have two kids. Oh, I'm sorry. She has two kids. If that's an issue, don't match with me. Again, nobody. Now, the only men who should match with single mothers are single fathers who have, at least 50% custody of their children. Otherwise, it is hell, right? With kids, oh, here's another perk. With kids comes a mom bod, but I'm working on it. Oh, great. So you're out of shape and you haven't gotten back into shape. Great to hear. Because beauty is not really that relevant, right? I am a very fair-headed person. Loyalty, trust, honesty, and communication are very important to me. I'm quirky and spontaneous. I'm always down for a trip or getaway, as long as you pay for it, right? But could also be a homebody. My love, okay, this is another thing that just kills me. Do you know, guys, what love languages are? There are 5, right? And I think it's actually a pretty good invention because love is such a bullshit concept, right? Because everybody has their own sort of vision of what love is. So when one person says, I love you to another person, that other person has no fucking idea what that means because they have their own understanding of what that is, right? I mean, I remember when I just got to America and I didn't really speak much English. So I was watching the show Cops, right? They're essentially the original reality TV show. And these cops would show up to this guy's house and he beat up his wife. She's like got a black eye or whatever. And police go chase him. They bring him back. And this is before the charges were automatic. They would have to have the girl to press charges and they will come back and she's all crying. And they're like, ma'am, would you like to press charges against your boyfriend who beat the fuck out of you? And she'll be like, no. And they're like, no. First of all, what the fuck are we doing here? But secondly, why not? And she'll be like, because I love him, right? And at that moment, I always understood she's not lying. She genuinely loves him, and just the way she loves a man is very different. And then they'll go to him and they're like, why the fuck did you beat out of your girlfriend? And you're like, well, because I love her, right? They love in a very different way. And that's how every person is. So they've created this love languages. So there's like kind of five categories of how each person likes to receive love, right? For example, obviously, as an alpha male who dates submissive and traditional women, my love language is acts of service, right? That's pretty much 100% of us. Uh, but you only get to pick one. And usually these women, because again, they like to receive a lot of shit and never give, she says, my love languages are. That is incorrect already. Quality time and affection, right? No, you only get to pick one. As a matter of fact, you misunderstanding what this whole concept of love languages. There's only five. So you don't get to pick 40% of them. It's almost half, right? But yet this is how these women are conditioned to think, right? Like, let me grab as much shit as I can. So whenever a girl tells me, like, because I do ask that question, it's actually it's a good question to ask if you're considering a serious relationship with a girl, right? So when the girl gives me more than one love languages, I'm like, bullshit, pick one. You only get one. All right. She says, I'm a big advocate of if you wanted to, you would. That's another gaslighting bullshit, right? If you wanted to buy me a Louis Vuitton purse, you would. If you wanted to help me with my money for my kids from another man, you would, right? This is exactly how women gaslight men, and unfortunately, a lot of American men go for that. No matter how busy somebody is, I feel they could always make time for things that matter to them. I think she needs to rephrase it a little bit. No matter how busy somebody is, I feel they could always make time for the things that matter to me, right? That's what she meant. Let's be honest about it. Um, I have a weird sense of humor. Okay, none of us are with women for their jokes. So if you can't handle being made fun of, swipe left. Now that's different than having a sense of humor. So your sense of humor is to insult your men, right? Some women assault them and some insult them, sometimes both. But this is, you fucking never make fun of your man ever. That is not a quality that a woman should have, right? It's just no. Like, I can't imagine here in Thailand a girl that I'm dating or seeing would make fun of me. And by the way, American women do it all the time in front of their friends and family. um, there was a story that I think I'm going to cover later this week, where a guy and a girl went on a trip to meet her parents, and they went to the beach, and she played a prank on him where I think she gave him like dissolvable underwear, so he went to the water and became naked. And which, by the way, let's be very honest, that's a sexual assault. When you take someone's clothes off against their will in front of strangers, that's a sexual assault, right? So she just thought it would be funny to have him parade around naked in front of her friends and family, right? So no, if a girl ever makes fun of you, you're done. That is a horrible quality in a woman. Um, I'm quiet. I doubt you're quiet. And to myself at first, but I'm more. Oh yeah, okay, at first. But I'm open once they get comfortable. Doesn't everybody know? No, you should meet some Thai women. I'm pretty independent. Okay, so that's another keyword that you always run from. Independent. Now, I will give her a benefit of the doubt here. Uh, um, I think she means emotionally here, right? I don't mind not talking every day, which, by the way, I expect a good morning and good night from a girl that I'm dating every time. I'm in a casual relationships with, a few women here in Thailand, and every single one of them says good morning and good night to me. Not much in between, which is fine. Some more, some less, but yeah, when a girl doesn't want to talk to you on a daily basis, that's not for me. I feel everyone should have their own time to themselves every now and then. Well, that's true, but not talking to a guy you're dating for a few days, that's different. I am non-judgmental, and I expect my partner to be non-judgmental as well. Yeah, this is essentially saying, don't judge me. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be held responsible for my actions and words. Accept me as I am, and I want to hear you essentially calling me out on any of my bullshit. That's what it means, right? By the way, every time I highlight here, it's a red flag. Have you noticed that? Like, that's why I said this profile is just a field of red flags. If you're not okay with something, speak up. What kind of men are you dating if you have to tell them speak up like they're kids? I'd rather you tell me now than we find out later or down the line. Okay, well, that's actually true. I'm very understanding, so I expect people to be able to be open with me and communicate no matter how hard the topic may be. All right, that I'll take that. I recently realized that understanding people and their way of thinking is important to me. Wow, fuck, that's should have been from day one when you turn an adult. Okay, better late than never, I guess. I like to ask questions, and sometimes bother me because I understand everyone thinks differently. All right. Something someone may have said or done may come off a certain way to me, but I like clarity before I react. Something tells me that's not true. I'm learning what I do and do not want in partner, and so far I know what I do not want. Yeah, so that's a little too late, right? You are fucking what again? 33, and you're only now learning what you want to. You already picked a partner to have two kids with, and I hope that they're from the same daddy. But knowing these women, it could be different. Just met a girl the other day here in Thailand. Black girl, two kids from two different daddies, and I think she's like not even 40 yet. Unbelievable. So, and a lot of times these women are saying, well, I know what I don't want. I don't know what I want, but I know what I don't want. And that actually creates, that's part of the problem why dating modern women is impossible, because they don't know what they want. And, I don't blame them. They're raised by single mothers and simp fathers, so they don't know what a good man is. And what they thought they wanted backfired on them one way or another, right? Maybe dating men with felonies like this lady did, apparently. So yes, but they figure out very quickly what they don't want, which is any man who has self-respect for themselves, who wants to point out that her behavior is inappropriate sometimes, right? Like she wants none of that stuff. She was very clear throughout this multi-paragraph profile that she wants no man who would hold her responsible for anything that she does. Lastly, thank God, we're almost there. I really do read profiles. So if you cannot take a few minutes to put effort into something as small as this app, how do you expect you put an effort into me? Now, that's a little bit of a bullshit because, I experience here myself because when I'm on dating apps, the tables are reversed here. So I get a lot of likes from women. And I notice that a lot of times when they start talking to me, they're like, oh, so where do you live? Are you visiting here or you live in Thailand? And I'm like, bitch, my first profile line of my profile says, I live in Bangkok, Thailand permanently. So when the roles are reversed, and women have a lot of profiles to go to through and not always match. They don't read profiles either. Men, I don't read profiles. I swipe right if I see the pictures are appropriate, like the no tattoos, no nose rings, none of that bullshit. And then if the girl matches with me, then I'll invest time in her profile and read. But I would. So yeah, I mean, men are not going to be reading profiles, generally speaking, in America because out of 200 or 300, you swipe right on the average guy in America, you'll get one match. They'll probably ghost you anyway. So why waste your time? So that I kind of totally understand why men don't invest their time.
If you want to ditch modern women and move abroad for more traditional relationships, go to themillionmanproject.com, take my most comprehensive course, and change your life.